Hi, this is Teresa Momber, and here's a look at the card I'll show you how to create in this video. I'm beginning with a piece of ivory cardstock and scratch paper, both cut to 5 by 3 3/4 inches, and then using a rectangle die template to cut the center from the copy paper. The copy paper creates the frame that'll be my mask, so I'm using repositionable tape and then placing it over the ivory cardstock. If you don't happen to have one of these long rectangle die templates, you can use sticky notes to create the same effect. And now I'll start sponging at the top using Gina K Sweet Corn Ink. Now I'm switching to Gina K Sweet Mango Ink and continuing to sponge, this time working from the opposite side and blending into the yellow. The next color I'm sponging with is Honey Mustard. And once again, starting from the bottom of the cardstock and working my way up part way into the orange. Now, I'm always saying starting at the bottom, but then you see I turn the cardstock around so that the bottom is at the top. I just find it easier to sponge that way, but that is the bottom of the scene that I'm creating. The final color I'm using for my scene is Warm Cocoa Ink, and this time I'm only sponging right at the very bottom of my mask. With all of my sponging complete, now I'll remove the mask and then use some sticky notes just to mask the bottom of the frame that I've created. With the mask in place, I'm now stamping one of the silhouette foliage images from the Heartfelt stamp set from Gina K Designs using Gina K Warm Cocoa Ink. Then I'm switching to the smaller silhouette stamp image and stamping it a few times also using Warm Cocoa Ink. Now this smaller silhouette image is a new image that I was able to fit in after the stamp set was redesigned in clear. After stamping, I'll remove the mask and set the background aside. For the next step, I'm stamping the group of pumpkins, also from the Heartfelt stamp set, onto a piece of white cardstock using Stazon Jet Black Ink. To color the image, I'm using my new Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, starting with the marker called Scarlet Red. And I'm using this marker where I want the darkest coloring to be. Next, I'll switch to the orange marker and continue coloring, blending from the previous color. To blend these markers, I'm finding it works very well to just make really light sweeping motions with the brush tip so that it starts in the darker color that I've already laid down, and then I pull that away and it kind of blends into the new color that I'm adding. Next, I switch to the marker called Bright Yellow and continue blending from the previous color. To fill in the lighter areas, I'm using a marker called Flesh Color. Now I'm adding a little deeper shading using the Oatmeal color marker. For the stems of the pumpkins, I'm starting with olive green and using that where I'd like the deepest coloring. And then I'm filling in using mid-green. After coloring, I'm using scissors to cut out the image. Next, I'll stamp the Happy Thanksgiving sentiment, also from the Heartfelt stamp set, using Gina K Charcoal Brown Ink. I'm using self-adhesive foam squares to adhere the image to the background. And then, to complete the card, Just adhere the entire assembly to a 5.5 by 4.25 warm cocoa card base. That completes today's video. Thanks for watching.